Welcome to The Explainer. All right, today we are deconstructing a name you almost certainly know, a true FinTech pioneer, Etrade.
All right, let's just jump right in. We're going to start with something you've probably seen 1,000 times, the logo. But look closely. See that A Morgan Stanley company underneath? That little line of text, well, it tells a huge story about the journey of online finance, from a scrappy startup to a Wall Street powerhouse. And that's exactly the story we're going to unpack today.
Okay, so here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll look at its journey. Then, we'll get into the business model. After that, the tech and the massive scale it operates on. And finally, we'll wrap up with what this all means for you.
So, first up, a FinTech pioneer's journey. You know, to really understand Etrade, you have to look at where it came from, because its story, it's not just about one company. In a lot of ways, it's the story of online trading itself.
Okay, this timeline is just fascinating. It really maps out the classic arc of a tech disruptor, doesn't it? I mean, 1982, founded in Silicon Valley. Just 1 year later, in '83, they execute the first ever online trade. Can you even imagine how wild that was back then? Then boom, 1996, they go public right in the middle of the dot-com craze. And then the final chapter, 2020, acquired by Morgan Stanley. That last step is huge. It's the ultimate signal of a major shift. FinTech grit meets old-school Wall Street power.
All right, Section 2, the brokerage business model. This brings us to the question you're probably asking. If trading is commission-free, how on earth do they make money? It's the big question, right? So, let's pop the hood and see what's really going on inside this financial engine.
And here's the key thing to get. It is so much more than just a trading app. Thinking they just make money on trades is missing the whole picture. It's really a multifaceted financial machine.
So how does that machine work? Well, it basically has 5 core revenue streams. Let's run through them real quick. Number 1, yeah, there are still some fees for specific services. Number 2, and this is a huge one, is the interest they make on the cash just sitting in your account. Number 3 is something a little controversial called payment for order flow. We'll get to that in a sec. And then you've got advisory fees and services for big company stock plans. See, that's pretty diverse. Okay, so about that number 3, payment for order flow, or POFF. What is that? Well, to put it simply, when you hit buy on a stock, Etrade sends that order to a big market maker to actually get it done. In return for that fire hose of orders, the market maker pays Etrade a small fee. It's a super common practice across the industry, but yeah, it's also one that not a lot of people fully understand.
All right, moving on to part 3, technology and tremendous scale. Because let's be real, none of that business model we just talked about, none of it works without some seriously powerful technology driving it. So let's see what's behind the billions.
So, you might be wondering, what exactly is their tech stack? Well, Etrade doesn't just publish a nice, neat diagram for us. And that's totally normal, right? You don't want to give away the secret sauce. But that doesn't mean we're totally in the dark. We can definitely find some clues.
And where do we find those clues? Job postings, for one. A Morgan Stanley posting gives us a peek, and it's a really modern setup. You see stuff like .NET, Azure, Python, but let's translate what this actually means for you. You see Kafka on this list? That's what makes your portfolio balance update instantly, in real time. See Docker and Kubernetes? That's what keeps the app from crashing when the market goes crazy and everyone is trying to trade at once. So this isn't just a boring list of technologies. It's the blueprint for a fast, stable experience.
So what does all this high-power technology actually support? Well, it has to be this sophisticated because the scale of this platform is just mind-blowing. You ready for some numbers? Because they are absolutely staggering.
Get this. As of late 2024, we're talking about $1.4 trillion. That's trillion with a T. That's the amount of money in self-directed client accounts on the platform.
And who does that money belong to? 8.3 million different households. I mean, the sheer scale here, both in users and in capital, is just immense. And all of it, every single dollar and every single trade, runs on that tech backbone we were just looking at. Okay, so we've taken the machine apart, we've looked at the history, the business model, the tech. Now for our last section, let's put it all back together and look at it from your perspective. From the user's dashboard, what is the actual value proposition here? What does Etrade really deliver to you?
When you boil it all down, it really comes down to 2 big promises. On the one hand, you have that classic Etrade value. Low fee, easy access to the markets. Commission-free trades on stocks, ETFs, you name it. But on the other hand, you have this new powerful element, integrated banking. This is where that Morgan Stanley acquisition is a total game changer.
It seamlessly connects your brokerage account with checking and savings. It was a brilliant move, really. Morgan Stanley got millions of new customers, and Etrade got the rock-solid backing and product lineup of a Wall Street giant. And this table really lays it all out pretty clearly. You can see how they cater to different people with different products. You've got your self-directed brokerage for the DIY investors and active traders. You've got retirement accounts for long-term savers. You need advice? They've got managed portfolios. Need to manage cash? They've got banking. And for employees, they even handle workplace stock plans. It's not just one product, it's a whole financial ecosystem.
And that really brings us to our final big picture question. What Etrade is building, this merger of brokerage and banking, it points toward a future of the all-in-one financial platform, a sort of super app where your investments and your cash all live together in one place. And as that trend just keeps getting bigger and bigger, the question we should all be asking is this: is that all-in-one future the right one for every investor? Something to think about. Thanks for joining us for this explainer.